All right, so get this. We're diving deep today into a website called DuDaMath Open Educational Resources / Open Source Physics at Singapore.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, it doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, does it? But believe me, the name is the only clunky thing about this whole thing.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
We're talking open source physics and math resources, all freely available online.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, buckle up because we're about to see how Singapore is changing the game when it comes to education.
You know, what's interesting about this is this isn't just like some random website.
Right.
This is part of a larger initiative in Singapore, like a real push to make education accessible to everyone.
Exactly, and that's what makes this so exciting.
Yeah.
It's not just about putting resources online.
Yeah.
It's about creating a culture of open learning.
Right.
Okay, so let's start with this DuDaMath thing.
Okay.
The website itself is like a giant directory overflowing with links to all sorts of resources.
It's kind of like stepping into a massive library, except instead of dusty old books, you've got interactive simulations, coding projects, even games.
Hold on, games.
Yeah.
That's how they're teaching physics now.
It's pretty amazing.
I wish they had that back in my day.
I know, right?
But okay, let's get back on track.
Okay.
We're looking at open educational resources / open source physics at Singapore.
Oh.
What does that even mean? Break it down for me.
Sure. Essentially, it means that all of these resources are free to use, share, and even modify.
Oh, wow.
Think of it like open source software, but for education.
Okay.
Teachers can adapt the materials to fit their specific needs, and students can learn at their own pace, exploring topics that interest them.
So it's not just about access. It's about giving teachers and students the freedom to shape their own learning experience.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. Now let's talk about these interactive resources. The website uses something called breadcrumbs navigation.
Yeah.
Can you explain that a little?
Yeah, breadcrumbs navigation basically shows you the path you've taken to get to a particular page.
Okay.
It's like leaving a trail of digital crumbs so you don't get lost in the vast forest of resources.
Okay, that makes sense. So you can click through different categories like Newtonian mechanics, and within each category, there's a ton of cool stuff. Like, check this out. There's a resource called tracker modeling and two pendulum swinging in out of phase.
Now, that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
But it actually illustrates a really important concept in physics, how systems can interact and influence each other. Imagine two pendulums swinging not in sync, but in opposite directions. Modeling that motion can reveal fascinating patterns and insights.
And they're using software to do this, right? Not actual pendulums.
That's right. They're using a program called Tracker, which allows students to analyze videos and extract data about the motion of objects. In this case, the pendulums. It's a great way to bridge the gap between theory and real-world observation.
Okay, so they're making physics come alive through these interactive tools.
Right.
But wait, there's more. This website also has a whole section dedicated to projects, and the titles are, well, pretty intriguing. Let me just rattle off a few. Antibiotic resistance dice simulation, bar magnet field line simulator, JavaScript simulation, applet, HTML5, and catch the recyclables. An interactive recycling game in EJS.
It's amazing to see how they're applying physics to real-world issues like healthcare and environmental sustainability.
Wow.
And by using a variety of programming languages, they're also introducing students to valuable coding skills.
And who knew physics could be so much fun? Games, simulations, coding projects, they're really pulling out all the stops. But here's where it gets really interesting. This website isn't just a collection of resources, it's a community. The website says we have 229 guests and 1 member online.
That's a great point. This isn't just a static repository of information. It's a dynamic platform where people can connect, share ideas, and learn from each other. And that 1 member online looking is a reminder that there are real people behind these resources, passionate about making education accessible.
Okay, so it's like a virtual hangout for physics enthusiasts.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And to get a sense of what this community is interested in, we can look at the popular tags on the website, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Think of these tags as a window into the collective mind of the community. They give us a glimpse of what topics are trending, what skills are in demand, and what challenges people are facing.
So what kind of tags are we talking about?
Well, there are tags like dynamic secondary, which suggests that a lot of high school students are using these resources. And then you've got tags like Android/iOS, including handphones/tablets/iPads, which highlights the accessibility of these resources on various devices. It's all about making learning as convenient and engaging as possible.
Makes sense. And of course, no exploration of open educational resources will be complete without mentioning PET.
Ah, yes,
I'll go in.
Unity. For those who aren't familiar, PET is a renowned platform developed at the University of Colorado Boulder that offers a vast collection of interactive science and math simulations. They're known for their high quality and engaging design, and they've been used by millions of students worldwide.
So finding a FEET tag here means that this Singaporean initiative is tapping into a global network of open educational resources.
Yeah.
They're not just building something in isolation, they're connecting to a larger movement. And
Yeah.
that's what makes this so exciting. It's a glimpse into the future of education, a future where knowledge is shared freely and learning knows no boundaries.
Yeah, it's really quite inspiring.
It's really amazing.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, we often think about the internet as a source of entertainment or distraction, but here we are seeing its potential to be a powerful tool for learning.
Right. It's about democratizing knowledge, breaking down the barriers that traditionally prevented people from accessing quality education.
And this Singaporean initiative is a prime example of that.
Ab-
They're not just making resources available, they're curating them, organizing them, and even creating a community around them. Speaking of which, I'm curious about those projects we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
They seem to cover a pretty wide range of topics.
Yeah, that's one of the strengths of this approach.
Okay.
By connecting physics to real-world issues, they're making it more relevant and engaging for students. Take the antibiotic resistance dice simulation, for example.
Okay.
It's a simple but effective way to illustrate how bacteria can evolve and become resistant to antibiotics.
So instead of just reading about antibiotic resistance in a textbook,
Right.
students can actually roll dice and see the process unfold before their eyes.
Exactly. It's a hands-on activity that helps them grasp the underlying concepts in a more intuitive way.
Yeah.
And it also highlights the importance of using antibiotics responsibly to prevent the spread of resistance.
See, that's what I love about this. They're not just teaching physics. They're teaching critical thinking and problem-solving skills that are essential in today's world.
Absolutely.
You know?
And they're doing it in a way that's fun and engaging. Remember that Catch the Recyclables game we mentioned?
Yeah, that one sounded pretty cool.
Well, it's not just a game.
Right.
It's a clever way to teach students about projectile motion, a fundamental concept in physics.
Mm-hmm.
To catch the falling recyclables, players need to understand how gravity affects the trajectory of objects.
So they're learning physics without even realizing it.
Exactly.
That's sneaky, but I like it.
It's a good way to learn.
It reminds me of how I learned about fractions by baking with my grandmother,
Oh, wow.
you know?
Ooh.
It's so much easier to grasp concepts when you can apply them to something tangible, something you enjoy doing.
Absolutely, and that's what makes these projects so effective. They tap into students' natural curiosity and desire to play learning into an adventure.
Okay, so we've got simulations, games projects. What else is there?
Well, don't forget about those interactive simulations. They're a great way to visualize abstract concepts and experiment with different variables. Like that bar magnet field line simulator we talked about.
Yeah, that one sounded pretty high tech.
It is. It allows students to manipulate a virtual bar magnet and observe how the magnetic field lines change in response. They can explore different configurations, test their hypotheses, and gain a deeper understanding of magnetism.
And they're doing all of this online, right?
That's right. It's all accessible through the website, along with supporting materials like lesson plans and tutorials.
Right.
And by using a combination of multimedia elements like videos, animations, and interactive quizzes, they're catering to different learning styles and keeping students engaged.
It's almost like they've thought of everything.
Yeah, they've done a really good job with this.
But I'm wondering, what about the teachers? How do they fit into all of this?
That's a great question. These resources are designed to empower teachers, not replace them. Teachers can use these materials as a starting point, adapting them to their specific curriculum and teaching style.
So it's like a toolkit that they can draw from.
Exactly. They can pick and choose the resources that best fit their students' needs and learning objectives. And because these resources are open source, they can even modify them, adding their own content or creating new activities.
That's amazing. It gives teachers so much flexibility and control over their classroom.
And it encourages collaboration and innovation. Teachers can share their modifications and adaptations with others, creating a dynamic and evolving ecosystem of learning resources.
That's fantastic. It sounds like they're really building a vibrant community of educators and learners, all connected by this shared passion for open educational resources.
And it really is.
It's inspiring to see how technology can be used to break down barriers and make learning more accessible and engaging. But I have to ask, what about assessment? How do they measure learning outcomes when students are exploring topics at their own pace and using such a diverse range of resources?
That's a really important question, and it's one that educators are grappling with as open educational resources become more prevalent. Traditional methods of assessment, like standardized tests, might not be the most effective way to gauge understanding in this context.
Hmm.
Instead, there's a growing emphasis on alternative forms of assessment, such as project-based learning portfolio assessments and peer feedback.
So instead of just memorizing facts and formulas, students are demonstrating their understanding by applying what they've learned to real-world problems in creative projects.
Exactly. It's about shifting the focus from rote learning to deeper understanding and critical thinking skills. And these alternative forms of assessment often provide a more holistic view of a student's learning journey, showcasing their growth, creativity, and problem-solving abilities.
It sounds like a much more meaningful way to assess learning, but I imagine it also requires a shift in mindset both for educators and students.
Absolutely. It's about embracing a more collaborative and student-centered approach to education, where learning is seen as an ongoing process of exploration and discovery, not just a means to an end.
And this Singaporean initiative seems to be at the forefront of that movement. By providing open access to high-quality resources, they're not just leveling the playing field, they're creating a whole new landscape for learning.
It's a really exciting time to be involved in education. With initiatives like this paving the way, who knows what the future holds? Perhaps we'll see a world where learning is truly personalized, where students can pursue their passions, develop their unique talents, and contribute to society in meaningful ways.
And it all starts with this simple idea, sharing knowledge freely and empowering others to learn. It's a powerful reminder that education has the potential to transform lives and shape a better future for all.
You know what's truly fascinating is how this initiative in Singapore has ripple effects far beyond its borders.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it serves as a model for other countries looking to embrace open educational resources and create more equitable and engaging learning experiences for their students.
Well, it's certainly given us a lot to think about, hasn't it?
I think so.
From interactive simulations and games to project-based learning and alternative assessments, we've seen how Singapore is pushing the boundaries of education and inspiring a global movement towards open learning.
And if we connect this back to you, the listener, think about what aspects of this deep dive resonated most strongly.
Right.
Perhaps you're inspired to explore open educational resources in your own field or to rethink your approach to learning and problem solving. The key takeaway here is that the resources and the community exist. What will you create with them?
So there you have it, folks. Our deep dive into the world of open educational resources and open source physics in Singapore. We hope you've enjoyed the journey and come away with a renewed appreciation for the power of open learning. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.